Hi, it's Elise here at Bowman Library with a whole new teen book spotlight. So for our spotlight this time, we are exploring graphic novels, but we're getting a little more specific with our graphic novels because we are exploring graphic novels that are all about non-fiction. That's right, we have 6 graphic novels that are all about something true. It could be an event in history, it could be like a period in history, it could be a memoir, it could be a biography. What I love about graphic novel nonfiction is that it kind of like, it's one thing to read it, it's another thing that we actually then get to see it. And that's what this allows for us to happen. So we have 6 amazing ones that we're going to explore, maybe to get you excited about some graphic nonfiction. So let's get started. Our first one is Trinity, a graphic history of the first atomic bomb. And I'm talking like if you've gone to see Oppenheimer, this is where we're at, okay? So this is a look at the Manhattan Project, okay? The scientific and top secret team, which was put together by the government during World War II to develop the atomic bomb. Now, this graphic novel brings you behind the scenes as you meet those famous individuals involved, some that you may know, others you're gonna know by the time you're done with this one, and the choices that were made as like whether or not, to use the atomic bomb, okay? Keep that in mind. There was still a choice. After this was made, it didn't have to be used. As well as, and then it also digs into the competition which takes place between various different countries with the hopes that they would develop the weapon and be able to use the technology as well. I'm talking, we got spies in all the camps, we got double agents. It's like you couldn't make it up because you couldn't. It was completely real. Now, this is a great companion to Steve Schenken's Bomb, which is another amazing read that's about the Manhattan Project and Robert Oppenheimer, that type of deal. So maybe you're not into graphic novels, maybe you're not even willing to give this a try, which I totally think you should. But Bomb by Steve Schenken is a great alternative to Trinity, the graphic history of the first atomic bomb. Dragon Hoops, and even though it looks hefty, it's a graphic novel, it reads fast, okay? So this is based on a true story. It's a graphic novel that features the season of the basketball team for Bishop O'Dowd High School in California. Yeah, it's a real place, it's a real high school, okay? And this team, they work together and they play together with the goal of winning the state championship for the first time in his school history. And they think they have a shot at doing this. The talent is there, the drive is there. Now, Gene Luen Yang, who is the author of this graphic novel, Gene, before he became this amazing, incredible graphic novelist, was a teacher at this school, at Bishop O'Dowd High School. That's where he started out, okay? And he decides he's gonna spend the whole season with the team. And even when they traveled out of state, there were times he gets on a plane with them. Now, this is an interesting combination of the history of basketball, there's player profiles, and the events during the basketball season, okay? You will get to know each and every single one of these players on the team, and you will get to like, you will be cheering them on, like you want them to succeed, and you will be at the edge of your seat wanting to know what happens next and if they actually get to accomplish their goal. Now, amazing graphic novel story, and it's something that everyone can relate to, whether or not it's a team thing or not. We all have goals. We're all willing to try whatever it takes to reach those goals. Yeah, Dragon Hoops, amazing. The 9/11 Report, a graphic adaptation. So one thing I appreciate about this is after the events on 9/11, September 11th, 2001, the federal government, they wanted to know what led to this, okay? So they started an independent commission or group to figure out what actually happened leading up to that day, and then what needs to be changed, what needs to be fixed in order to ensure this should never happen again. Now, when they were done, they released this report called the 9/11 Report. Now, comes in at a little over 800 pages. And I will tell you right now, it is not an easy read, okay? 800 pages to begin with, then you throw in, it's written by federal government people. Yeah, not really a lot of, creative language in there, okay? So, what is amazing about this graphic novel, though, is that it's only 15% of that size. This is not 800 pages, I will tell you that right now. And it covers all of the important points and takeaways from the report. So you don't have to read the 800-page report in order to understand what the commission found and what they then recommended. Now, this adaptation was approved by the commission's chair and co-chair. So Sid Jacobson here, he's not taking his own interpretation. It's been approved by those people. And it gives you straightforward facts, no opinion, and it leaves you the opportunity to make your own opinions and decisions and choices and however you want to look at it about what happened on 9/11 with this information. Now, this is an awesome thing that graphic novels can do. And this isn't the first one to do this, that they take these reports. There's one about the Warren Commission. There's another one that's a follow-up to this one that's all about the war in Iraq and the reports that come from that. So graphic novels have this awesome opportunity to present us with information that we maybe would have a difficult time finding, understanding, being able to read otherwise. The 9/11 report is a perfect example of that. Highly, highly recommend this one, especially if you're into like government or history. 9/11 reports. Shackleton in Antarctic Odyssey. Okay, so if you're into some adventure history, oh yeah. So in 1914, Ernest Shackleton, he's determined to be the first person to go down to Antarctica, and he's going to cross the entirety of Antarctica by foot. So he and a group of sailors, they set off to the bottom of the world in a specially designed ship known as the Endurance. Maybe you've heard of it before. Now on the way there though, the crew became trapped. They become trapped in ice, and the whole crew was faced with surviving the winter on this ice floss, okay, while facing sub-zero temperatures, food shortages, health crises, and despair for 5 months. 5 months, okay? Now deciding that they cannot do this, okay? Yeah. They decide they need to take their survival into their own hands, and they set off on this 800-mile journey in an open boat to go find help. Now, this real-life adventure survival story is one that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Even though you may know what happens in all of this, with it being told through a graphic viewpoint, you are there. You are seeing in picture form what is happening. And you may not believe that some of this actually happens. I promise, it totally all does. Now, as you fly through this graphic novel, you'll be right there in all of the action. And you may even find yourself wondering, what would you do if you found yourself in this type of situation? This is Shackleton, Antarctic Odyssey. One of the newer nonfiction graphic novels that's come out in the past year, as you can see, has won a ton of awards. It is one of my new favorites, nonfiction ones. Yeah, this is Victory Stand. Okay, so in this graphic memoir, we follow track athlete Tommy Smith from his childhood through his Olympic journey and the consequences, both positive and negative, okay, more negative at first than positive, but eventually they do become positive, of the stand he took when he won an Olympic gold medal. Now, Tommy was one of 14 in his family. They started out in Texas. That's where he is born. When he turned 7, even though their family doesn't have much, they decide they're going to move to California so they can make a better life for their kids. And it's there that when they move to California that Tommy's introduced to two things that he had never really had experience when he was in Texas. One would be racism, and two would be track and field, especially with running short distances. Come to find out, he actually does that pretty well. He ends up getting recruited to San Jose State on an athletic scholarship to run track for them. And before he knows it, fast forward 5 years, it's 1968. Tommy is representing the United States at the Olympics in Mexico City, winning a gold medal in the 200-meter race, okay? It is then that Tommy, through experiences he's had and friendships he has made, he decides that it's his time to take a stand. And he goes and he stands on the podium, they put the gold medal on him, and then he raises his fists in the air in that iconic picture that hopefully you have seen at some point while the national anthem is playing. This then leads to some pretty swift repercussions for him professionally, but he knows he had to take a stand, okay? Now this is told from his point of view. You will be on this life-changing journey with him, and you'll be asking yourself, like, what do you stand for? And what are you willing to do for it? Again, incredible graphic novel. This is Victory Stand. And our last one is The Great American Dust Bowl. Okay, so this nonfiction graphic novel will take you back to the time of the 1930s in the middle of the United States. So we're in the Midwest, okay, you know, that Kansas, Oklahoma, all that region. And it was facing one of the greatest droughts in our history. Because there was droughts, there was no rain. This would lead to some horrific dust storms, as well as a lack of growing food and being able to maintain cattle and other animals. We eventually had no food. People started really struggling through this. And it's one thing to read about this time in history, and it's another thing to see it, like, the impact visually that it had on families and individuals. And that's what Don Brown does, as he always does. I love his graphic novels. He always does a great job with his history ones. Yeah, so you actually get to see what it was actually like for families and individuals and animals during this time of the Great American Dust Bowl. Incredibly impactful. So these are just 6 of the graphic novel nonfiction titles we have here at the library. So hopefully you've been inspired. Maybe you want to try something new. Maybe you're not really into graphic novels to begin with, or maybe you like graphic novels, but you haven't really considered a nonfiction one. Well, we have 6 amazing titles here to get you started. You can check out, or we do have others, so we can totally help you find here at the library. I hope you have an incredible week, and I hope you tune back next time with a whole new teen book spotlight.